The first thing that gets you is the sound. And I mean, it's not just a noise. It's this physical force that just vibrates straight through your bones. It's the scream of a Formula One engine at full blast down the hangar straight at Silverstone. Then you get the smell, the sharp, almost intoxicating mix of burning rubber and high-octane fuel that kind of catches in your throat. Your heart is just pounding, a frantic drumbeat against the roar of 20,000 people. 20 cars, all lined up on the grid, each one a carbon fiber arrow aimed at that first corner, shimmering in the heat haze. You're there, in the cockpit. Your gloved hands are clamped to the wheel, knuckles white. Your whole world is just shrunk down to 5 red lights hanging in the sky. And right there, in that electric moment just before the absolute chaos, you see it, a flash of metal and crystal on the wrist of the driver right next to you. A watch. In a world that is defined by thousandths of a second, what could that tiny machine possibly tell you?
And that's a real question. You know, when every single millisecond is the difference between winning and losing, between glory and complete failure, when your entire legacy is being written lap by agonizing lap, what does your choice of watch say about who you are? Is it just a sponsor's logo slapped on your wrist, some contractual thing? Or is it something more? Is it like a piece of your armor, a reminder of the kind of precision and endurance you need to just survive out here? Is it a trophy you've already won, a golden announcement that you've arrived? Or maybe, is it a trusted tool, a quiet partner that you trust to see you through the fight? Well, this is the story of 2 drivers, 2 completely different philosophies, and 2 incredible watches that tell the tale of a brutal rivalry fought on the world's most dangerous racetracks.
All right, so let's break this down. First, we're going to meet the veteran, a legend brought back from the edge, and we'll look at the watch that tells his story of survival. Then, we'll get to know the rookie, this ambitious young gun with a watch that just screams confidence. After that, we'll see how this whole rivalry plays out on their wrists, how this fictional battle actually created a very real-world icon, and then, at the end, we'll decide which one of these timepieces truly wins the race.
So our story kicks off with a name that's whispered almost like a myth in the F1 paddock, Sonny Hayes. Back in the 1990s, we're talking the era of screaming V12s, manual gearboxes. He was the prodigy, the can't-miss kid. He had this way with a car that seemed to just bend the laws of physics. Everyone knew he was destined for greatness, a champion in waiting. But his career was shattered by a horrific crash that forced him to walk away from the very sport he was born to dominate.
So for 30 years, Sonny Hayes basically became a ghost. He lived in the shadow of what could have been, a man completely haunted by an unfinished career. Can you imagine carrying that weight? He was the ultimate what-if story, a driver with this immense, raw talent that was just completely eclipsed by a single, violent moment. He became this quiet, intense man who understood the true cost of chasing glory better than anyone. He vanished from the spotlight, living a life that was a world away from the circus he once commanded.
But you know, the pull of the track, it's impossible to resist. One day, the phone rings. It's his old friend who's now the team principal of a struggling team, APXGP, a team that is right on the verge of collapse. They need him, but not just for his experience, not just to drive. They need him to mentor their new star, a wildly talented but completely reckless rookie. And so, 30 years later, Sonny Hayes puts the helmet back on. He's not there to reclaim his past, but to secure a future for his team, and maybe, just maybe, to finally face the ghosts that have been following him for decades.
And on his wrist is the perfect watch for a man like this. It's not flashy, it's not loud, it is a tool. Specifically, it's a custom IWC Ingenieur. Now, to get this choice, you have to understand the watch's history. The original Ingenieur SL, reference 1832, was designed in the 1970s by the single most legendary watch designer of all time, Gerald Genta. This is the man who gave us the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak and the Patek Philippe Nautilus. It was engineered to be tough, reliable, anti-magnetic, a watch for engineers. It's a symbol of understated strength, of intelligent design. Sonny's version is stainless steel, re-engineered just for him, with this unique sage green dial, a color that speaks of experience and wisdom, not ego. It's a survivor's watch, through and through.
But the story of this specific watch, it goes even deeper, and honestly, it's fantastic. This was not just some prop they pulled out of a drawer. Brad Pitt, the actor playing Hayes, is a serious watch guy. He personally sent a detailed request to IWC. He loved the history of that original Genta-designed Ingenieur, but he always felt it was too thick for his wrist. So he asked them for a version that was half the original thickness. Now, this was a massive engineering challenge. To pull it off, IWC's watchmakers had to remove the soft iron inner cage that gave the original its famous anti-magnetic properties, a move some purists would call sacrilege, but it was necessary for the look. They built an entirely new slimmer case and caseback. Then for the final touch, the surface finishing, the intricate brushing and polishing that gives a watch its soul, that was done by the experts at Cloister Watch Company in New York. And because this is Hollywood, of course they didn't make one. They made two identical props, because you always need a backup. This wasn't product placement. This was a deep, deep collaboration to craft a character's very soul in watch form.
Of course, every legend needs a challenger, and for the returning Sonny Hayes, that challenger is Joshua Pierce. He is the new blood. He is the future. He's blindingly fast, fiercely ambitious, and he carries himself with this unapologetic swagger of a young man who just believes he's the best in the world and is just waiting for everyone else to figure it out.
Pierce is everything Hayes is not. He's a product of the modern driver academy system, this world of huge sponsorship deals, social media empires, and intense public scrutiny from a really young age. He has the raw speed, the almost superhuman reflexes, and that fearless aggression that defines a modern F1 driver. He doesn't really respect the past or its heroes. He's here to erase them and write his own story. He sees the sport not as some tradition to be honored, but as a platform for his own greatness.
His motivation is simple, pure, and absolutely relentless: victory. He needs to win to prove that he belongs at the top of motorsport. And he sees Sonny Hayes not as a mentor who can teach him something, but as a benchmark to be beaten, a relic from a bygone era just standing in the way of his destiny. Every single move he makes on and off the track is a calculated statement of intent. He is here to take over.
And his watch? Well, his watch is that statement, forged in precious metal. Pierce wears an IWC Pilot's Performance Chronograph 41. But not the standard steel version, no. His is crafted from a solid block of 18-karat 5N gold, a specific rose gold alloy known for its really rich, warm tone. This isn't a tool, it's a trophy that you wear on your wrist before the race has even been won. It has this unapologetic presence. It's got a glossy black dial and a black ceramic bezel with a tachymeter scale, a tool for measuring speed, a very clear nod to his singular obsession. The black and gold color scheme directly matches the livery of his APXGP race car, tying his identity completely to the machine. It's a watch that just screams, "Look at me, I have arrived."
So it's really crucial to understand that these watches aren't just accessories. The filmmakers, led by director Joseph Kosinski, made them core elements of the story. The rivalry between the veteran and the rookie isn't just happening on the racetrack, it's a philosophical battle being fought right there on their wrists. You have the quiet competence of steel versus the loud declaration of gold, the wisdom of age versus the fire of youth.
And this whole story was captured with his fanatical commitment to realism. Kosinski, who is the same director behind the practical effects masterpiece Top Gun Maverick, wanted to avoid CGI at all costs and put the audience directly in the driver's seat. Production started at the actual British Grand Prix in July 2023 and continued through 2 real F1 seasons. They were granted this unprecedented access, filming on track during real race weekends, with the actors driving modified Formula 2 cars at speeds up to 180 miles per hour. With 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton on board as a producer, every single detail was obsessed over to ensure authenticity, from the chassis dynamics to the pit wall chatter. Hamilton's whole job was to make sure that what you see on screen is the closest thing to the visceral, G-force-pounding reality of F1 that has ever been filmed.
This commitment to realism just brings the core conflict into such sharp focus. So let's just break it down. On one side, you have Hayes' Ingenieur. It represents experience over ego. It's a watch about endurance, not just raw speed. It's a tool for the job, built with a sense of history and legacy. It understands where it came from. Then on the other side, Pierce's gold chronograph represents pure, raw ambition. It's about winning at all costs, right now. It isn't a tool for the job, it's the trophy you get for doing it. It's a watch focused entirely on the here and now with no time for the past. This isn't just about 2 drivers, it's a clash between 2 whole eras of motorsport.
This sentiment right here, it perfectly captures Sonny Hayes' philosophy. It's a lesson he learned the hard way. See, anyone can be fast for a single lap. But to endure a full race distance, a brutal season, a 30-year exile, and still come back to fight, that takes something more than speed. It takes resilience, intelligence, and grit. And that is exactly what his watch, the Ingenieur, represents. It's a classic, Genta-pen design that has endured for decades, a machine built to last, not just to shine for a moment.
Okay, so here's where the story takes this fascinating turn and just kind of breaks the fourth wall. The narrative that was created for the film didn't just stay on the screen. It actually bled out into the real world and had a tangible impact on the watch collecting community.
This is a phenomenon we've seen before. I mean, think Steve McQueen in the Hoyer Monaco or Paul Newman in his Rolex Daytona. A fictional character can absolutely transform a watch into a legend.
The unique sage green Ingenieur that was created for Sonny Hayes was so compelling, so perfect for the character, that IWC decided to make it real. Seeing the passion behind the design, they launched a limited edition Ingenieur Automatic 40, directly inspired by the movie watch, and the reaction from collectors was just explosive. It was a massive success, selling out almost instantly. Suddenly, this wasn't just a prop, it was a new grail watch for a lot of people, a piece of cinematic history that you could actually own. The demand completely eclipsed that of the standard models, which just proves the power of a great story.
And that right there is the price of admission, $12,600. That was the retail price for the limited edition Sonny Hayes Ingenieur. And for that, you weren't just buying a steel sports watch, you were buying the character, you were buying the story of the comeback, the incredible backstory of the collaboration with Brad Pitt, and the entire legacy of the film. It's the cost of wearing a narrative on your wrist. To put that into perspective, it's in the same league as some iconic Omega Speedmasters or Rolex Explorers, a serious price for a very serious piece of storytelling.
So this brings us to the final lap. We've got two incredible watches, each telling a powerful and completely opposing story. But as a collector, as an enthusiast, if you had to pick just one, which timepiece takes the checkered flag? Is it the veteran's tool or the rookie's trophy?
And the choice between them, it goes way beyond just how they look. It's about what you value. It's a question of who you identify with. Do you align more with the hard-won wisdom of experience or the undeniable fire of ambition? The quiet, self-assured confidence of a classic tool watch or the bold, unapologetic statement of a solid gold chronograph?
So let's weigh the final criteria here. In terms of the story, it's a tough call. A legend's comeback is a timeless, powerful narrative, but watching a new star's rise is just electrifying. For design, that's purely a matter of taste. The integrated, almost architectural design of the Ingenieur versus the loud, luxurious presence of the gold pilot's chronograph. For wearability, the Ingenieur is the absolute definition of an everyday classic you can wear with anything, anywhere. The gold chrono, though, that's a special occasion trophy piece. It's something you wear when you want to be noticed. And for legacy, well, the Ingenieur adds an iconic new chapter to a beloved vintage legend, while the chronograph marks the birth of a new, modern one tied forever to this film.
For me, after weighing it all, the choice is pretty clear. I would choose the Ingenieur. There's a depth to it that is just undeniable. The fact that the story of its actual creation, the actor's personal involvement, the re-engineering, the collaboration, is as compelling as the fictional story it tells on screen, well, that gives it an extra layer of authenticity that is incredibly rare. Its quiet, confident design speaks to a maturity and a self-assurance that I just find more appealing. It doesn't need to shout to be noticed. It has a story to tell, but it waits for you to ask. It's a watch that tells a story, not just the time. But hey, that's just my take. The beauty of this whole rivalry is that there really is no wrong answer. It all depends on who you are and what you want to project. So I have to ask you, if you were on that grid with the lights about to go out, which driver's watch would you want on your wrist? In the end, a film's intense rivalry was perfectly captured by two very different watches. A rugged steel tool for a veteran survivor and a golden trophy for an ambitious rookie. And in the process, they created a new legacy for both of them, on-screen and off. If you found this story compelling, you should really explore the one behind the watches in Top Gun Maverick. It's another Joseph Kosinski film with that same obsession for authenticity, featuring some legendary IWC and Porsche design timepieces. So, let me ask you one last time. Which watch would you pick? The veteran's Ingenieur or the rookie's chronograph? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe. New watch stories every week. Watch everything. Tick drop.